I don't know why, but you are watching the Madness Comic Network. Are you mental?
When a series of shipping disasters points to a mysterious sea monster, Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson leave the comfort of Baker Street and board a freighter where they encounter unexpected betrayal and come face to face with the enigmatic Captain Nemo and his submarine, the Nautilus. As they delve deeper into the case, they uncover a conspiracy involving a Russian Tsar with an airship that rains destruction on unsuspecting cities. With time running out and the world on the brink of war, the heroes must use all their skills and resources to stop a massive conspiracy and prevent global conflict. From Eisner-winning writer Mike Baron and illustrator Richard Bonk, dive into the depths of adventure and unravel the mysteries of the sea with the world's greatest detective in Leviathan. Order now at baroncomics.com.
The Madness Comic Network and comic-related madness proudly presents Madness Tuesday Morning Brew. Tune in to our content on Comic Talk with Pops Van Zandt on YouTube.
Tuesday morning brew. Hi, everybody. It's Laurie. You know me. I'm the writer creator of Path of the Pale Rider. I drink your tears when it comes to my story. It's been kind of a hectic week so far, and it's only Tuesday. Got some sick kids. Started on Friday. Kiddo is sick and home today. So if I have to pause for a second and excuse myself, it's because the little one needs is something. Hopefully it's not barf. We'll just pray it's not barf. We'll just say that. Path of the Pale Rider issue number 5. Books have been ordered. Proofs have been approved. And I'm just waiting for those bad boys to ship. So if you haven't picked up your issues 1 through 4 or trade paperback, now is the time. Get on caught up on the story because we ain't stopping. It's about to take off. When I say I drink your tears, there's a couple spots in this one where I'm going to drink your tears. The other thing I wanted to show off, I've been working on these book rebinds, and I know you guys know, right, that I've been rebinding books for a while. But I did some for Christopher Brown. He wrote this novel called Slaughterville, The Beast Within. And these turned out really nice. So I want to continue doing some bookbinding for people. So I just want to show it, like this one's in all black. That one turned out nice. This one is Chris's copy when I made his super special because I put some book headers. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but I also did an internal bookmark. So his has a bookmark with claw marks because there's werewolf. So these turned out super nice, guys. So very, very excited. There's the midnight blue. I made myself a midnight blue one. And then there was a teal one. So teal, beautiful. And then only one person did the yellow, but look how nice this turned out. This is super nice. I really liked it. You know what I mean? So I enjoyed the yellow. So I'm going to do some more. There I have a couple books on my list that I want to rebind. I think I bought myself Jurassic Park, and I have a zombie book that I got from a friend called Dead Weight. I want to give that a good rebind treatment. And so we'll keep doing that fun stuff. But if you're a novelist and you're interested in having some books rebound for like a Kickstarter campaign, or it's a book signing, you want some special one, you just want one for yourself of your own book, hit me up. I can help you out. So that's it. That's all I got about me today. I'm going to move on. So I'm going to bring it on today's guest. Super excited. This gentleman I have not spoken before today, so I'm really excited to have someone new on the show. This is CL Zeno. Good morning. How are you?
Doing well. I got my coffee, so I'm I'm up and at 'em.
I know. I'm like I'm severely under caffeinated compared to where I usually am at this
Yeah.
time. But I'm just gonna drink my reader's tears, and I think I'll be okay.
It'll hit at some point during the show. You'll see the energy levels go up.
Yeah, if I'm drinking your tears, people. That's how I roll. Hi, everybody in the chat. Good morning, Lou. Good morning, Ray. Of course, Pops Van Zant is here. Lou, Pops. Matthew. Good morning, Matthew. Thank you all for joining us in the chat. Feel free to drop questions, drop links, participate. It's a lot more fun when you guys are along for the ride. So, CL, we're going to go back. We're going to do what we always do on the Tuesday morning brew, which is I want to know your origin story. Is it a villain origin story? Is it a superhero origin story? I just want to hear what started you into comics, what inspired you, and what made you decide to pull the trigger and do this for yourself.
I'm glad you phrased it whether it's a hero or a villain origin story. So like my villain era has been in full effect for quite some time, but I'm not that evil. So it's like basically just like self-care, boundaries, just being wholesome and doing things for myself. So I definitely identify with characters that like have flaws but are definitely heroes. Like Black Widow's one of my favorites.
Yes.
Silver Surfer is one of my favorites. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's definitely where I'm coming from. Like like I'd say my comic origin is basically just being grounded for my entire childhood. And
Dang it.
yeah, like I was like the black sheep of the family, and so like
Oh.
scapegoat in a lot of ways. But my parents were like, "I'm never going to tell you you can't read." And so I was just a voracious reader. And so like my dad couldn't get me enough comics growing up. You know, like he got me
Yeah.
Marvel Essentials, like uh,
Mhm.
backs where it's like it's black and white, it's on newsprint, like it's the cheapest way you can ever print comics. Um, but it's the good stuff. It's the you know the John Buscema, Silver Surfer. It's the first run of the Avengers. It's the old Ghost Rider, like all that stuff. Like I read all that stuff growing up. Um, so it was accessible for my dad, who was a single dad, but also it was the cheapest way for me. Even today, like if I wanted to read all that stuff, you can't do it by going to your
Oh.
or getting all the wall books. That's not accessible for anybody.
Right. And I mean, even now, my kids are like, "Hey, I want to read." One of them was like, wants to read One Piece, and I was like,
Yeah.
"There's like 400 books."
Yeah,
I
I'll give you
was
the
like,
first one, and if you finish that, we'll get the second one, and if
I
you
was like,
finish that
maybe
one,
this
we'll
is
get you the
a
third one.
right. I was like, maybe this is a series that we get from the library, so you could read them
Yeah,
and take them back. I was like, I just don't even have the room. Like, where do you put all these things
yeah,
as you have this massive bookcase behind you?
yeah. I guess now it's like Marvel Unlimited, right? Like I had that. I was in the Navy, so like on my deployment, like I would download 12 issues, which was like better than nothing. And every time we pulled in, to port or whatever, you just download 12 new ones. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, there's definitely ways to do it now, but like back in the 90s when I was growing up, those reprints were the only way to do it. So
Yep.
um, yeah, so the Silver Surfer obviously like really captured my imagination. Like I've got the tattoo and everything, right?
Nice.
Just a absolute super fan, a true believer. So like I felt like that was maybe some of Stanley's most like bold writing. Like he really did tackle a lot of um, like mature or like complex themes in a relatively like child friendly medium. Like so he did the same stuff that he did with the Hulk, where like the government hates him and like he's an alien and
Mhm.
and they're gonna sick the military on him. It was like, okay, yeah, I get that. But also like he would just fly through space and be like, oh, why is humanity like this? And go in these big Shakespearean epics. And I was just like, it was the most profound thing I had read by the time I was like 8 years old. So I was like, this is amazing. I love this. Um,
Travis Gibbs says, "You don't look anything like a drunk mom," by the way.
we love
Yeah,
Travis.
you're
Yeah,
right. You're right, Travis. And I would hope not. I mean, sometimes you don't look like the characters you write about and draw about. Thank goodness, right? I don't
yeah.
I don't look like Cowboy either, so I'm just saying. Matthew says he's getting ready to relaunch his Kickstarter. That's good news, Matthew. You have to post it in the madness and let us know. We can share links when it's up. So, as you're reading these comics because you're grounded for life,
Yeah, fact.
you is that like it was a good escape for you?
Yeah,
I mean, like, how did that change you as a person where it was like you're just in comics all the time as a kid?
yeah. It was kind of like unsafe for me to really be present in a big way in my childhood. So like
Oh,
my safe place was my imagination, and so
yeah.
like I would just retreat into my imagination for survival. Honestly, looking back, like going through therapy and everything, like that's what it was that was where I was in control, and so like I can control the worlds that I create when I'm drawing new characters or whatever, and I've been drawing my whole life, but I think stuff like Dungeons and Dragons, I started playing when I was like 18 with like my Boy Scout camp staff. Um, and like when I was on my deployment, I started writing like fan fiction and stuff. And I was like, what am I
Mhm.
doing? Like, I want to write like something that I can actually publish. Like, I want to make a comic book. And so that's when I really decided that I loved writing and found it like myself like a very prolific writer. There was a lot of like catharsis. Like, it was very therapeutic for me,
Yeah.
and very easy. Like it wasn't the same amount of time that it took to draw like a print or like pencil a page or something like that. It was very quick for me, writing. So I, I picked it up very quick, and then I think uh, from 2017 through 2020, while still in the Navy, I wrote the 12 issues of Drunk Bomb,
Mhm.
and I started to put pen to paper in 2020, 2021. And I mean, I was working on Drunk Mom until I wasn't, because like COVID just kind of like hit you like a ton of bricks, like
Everybody.
yeah,
Everybody. Yes,
yeah,
and thank you for your service. Absolutely. We
yeah.
wanna make sure we say thank you.
Happy to help, especially I
Yeah.
mean Veterans Day. I appreciate
Yeah, it was
everybody's
yesterday.
love coming up
Mhm.
yesterday on like social media and everything. Did like eight and a half years in the Navy.
Wow.
And so and that's where I got to process a lot of stuff from my childhood, like my feelings on it, journal them, and then later like work them into a storyline. All right, how do I fit this really personal excerpt into themes for issue 7 that I'm writing or whatever, right?
Mhm.
Like, and getting to do that work and like getting lost in the work was one of the most rewarding experiences. And like when I finished issue 12 writing it, like I cried because like writing Drunk Mom was a therapeutic tool for me, and once I finished it, it's no longer available to me. And I was like, oh my gosh, like
Right.
I didn't realize
Now
how
what?
much I was losing myself in this writing, and how much it meant to me, like being able to write it. And so like I really did like that whole process of like your entire experience is your craft, and like your narrative choices and your writing, that's your instrument. Like you don't get to like, you know, embellish it later. Like, oh, I'm gonna put some cool textures on here. I'm gonna do a filter. I'm gonna like color correct. Like that's not available to you as a writer. Like
Right, right.
you have to make bold, purposeful, surgical decisions in your plot, in your
Ooh,
narrative,
I
and
like that. I like what you just said. You have to make bold surgical decisions in your plot.
yeah.
Mm.
And so like writing the comics that I want to write, it has really been an awesome experience. And so like again, during COVID, I pivoted to like leaning towards my community down here in Hampton Roads, Virginia. um, and like we worked on an anthology comic. We jammed on the Evandris theory, and we're like, hey, we all have these indie projects we're working on. We're working in a silo in COVID. Let's you know, collaborate on something so we can keep making comics and still be energized about making comics during this really tough time. And so that was something positive that came out of that. And like I initially, the working title for the script was Crisis on Indie Earths. And so we were gonna cross over all these indie properties through like a multiverse thing.
Yeah.
And I immediately was like, all right, I'm gonna be the first one to do Drunk Mom because I'm just chomping at the bit to do Drunk Mom stuff. So we crossed over Evandris Theory #1 with Drunk Mom, and so we've done a couple more comics since then. And now like going from traditional to digital, that whole learning curve has
Yes.
been over the course of Evandris 1, Evandris 2, Phantasmagoria, Tales of Goop. And so now like I feel like I'm even better equipped to do Drunk Bomb now. So yeah, it's been an awesome journey, personally and creatively.
That's awesome to hear. Because you and I, like I said, we haven't interacted before, but I love hearing people's journey every time. Because not only does it remind me
Yeah,
of my own journey, but it's like now I get to be, I get to watch your journey. Because here we are at this point together in our journey, and now it's like I say, okay, CL is doing this now, and look at where his art is going, and look how many more books he has under his belt in the years that have gone
yeah,
by. So it's just kind of cool to interact and to build community and watch each other's journey. I think that's one of the best parts of doing this show is that I get to meet a ton of new people and you know what I mean? Just really be a part of the community and watch. I'm repeating myself. I'm going to move on to something else. Um, so Drunk Mom, how did you come up with the concept for that? Like, let's talk about this because I mean, Drunk Mom, I mean, is such a in your face name for a comic.
yeah.
Let's talk about how it came up and like what the story is and where are we going with this thing? Because is it a comedy? Is it I mean, based off of what you were telling me about your childhood, I don't know, man.
Yeah. So if anyone's a fan of like the Arrowverse, like
Yeah.
CW shows, they always have like a formula for like you have like heart, humor, and heroics, right? And so like
Uh-huh.
for me, like that is a really strong formula because like some of my favorite characters to read in comics are the ones that have like that dual identity. So like
Mhm.
the Flash, you know, can solve all his problems by running real fast, but he can't be on time for work and he can't be there for Iris the way that he wants to or
Ever.
whatever. Or like Spider-Man can juggle the Sinister Six and save New York, but he can't remember to get eggs for Aunt May or whatever, right? Like so like when your personal and superhero lives really do get in each other's way, that's maybe the strongest time that you see who that character is.
Hmm.
And so that's kind of the genre, is like day in the life, but also superhero, and like like emphasis on including day in the life, because you can say that something's a superhero story and have it have elements of their personal life. That's not really capturing the whole picture. Like it's more akin to like Invincible or Jessica Jones or something like that.
Gotcha.
And so how I came up with it. Drunk Mom is a product of my friends and I goofing around in like 2014. I was in school with the Navy, and I'm not a morning person at all.
Hi,
And so,
Carissa. Yes, I'm totally not a morning person. Feel
like,
you.
like I got to do meal prep
Uh-huh.
now, like the night before or like the weekend before or whatever. Um, so you just grab and go out the door. But I
Yep.
was like 19, 20 years old at the time. So like I was just putting whatever was in the fridge in a bag, and that was my lunch. And um, like the worst that it ever got was like post Christmas, I had like the rest of the Christmas ham, um, a fruit cake, a block of feta cheese, a Capri Sun, like, and like that's my lunch or whatever. And
Yeah.
they're like, dude, you need to stop letting your drunk mom pack your lunches for you in the morning. Like these are
Oh.
terrible. What is this? Like I was just getting roasted at work. Um, and so like we spent like 12 hours a day at work, and so we were just riffing on this idea of like who is Leighton's drunk mom, and who well, actually she doesn't drink, she actually fights crime, she's a superhero, but like she can't tell anybody. So like that was like
Uh,
just the bit about why my lunches were so bad. um
that's funny.
but like the more
That's
we
how it
like
came
thought
up,
about
right?
it, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the more we thought about it, I was like, these are like some actually really strong themes. This can go somewhere. And like, yeah, by the time 2017 rolled around, like I was committing to it
In
in a
it.
big way.
Yeah. You're like, we're building this thing
Yeah, but
for
that's
sure.
the origin of the thing, is that like people come up to me at conventions, and like I have a little zine, like a little mini comic for Drunk Mom that I worked on in like 2020. Um, and they're like, "Oh, Drunk Mom, that's hilarious, that's great." Or like they'll ask like, "Oh, is her superpower like her alcoholism?" And it's just like, well, that's part of why Drunk Mom's such a great name for the book, is because like she would hate being called her son's drunk mom, because she's, first of all, like 5 years sober, and like just to be written off as it's just some alcoholic. But she cannot correct these people, because like you can't say, like, "Oh no, I was jumping from rooftops, I was fighting
Right.
crime, I'm a vigilante." You
I was
can't just
solving crime last night.
defend
That's why I'm so
herself.
tired. They're like, yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So yeah, they assume that she's gone out binge drinking and stuff, and she's relapsed. But
Oh no.
yeah, that's the initial concept. And she actually doesn't become Drunk Mom, the superhero title, until like the finale of the first arc, right? The 12 issue
Yeah.
arc. So she becomes like all these other um, superheroes that Craig makes for her friend, right?
Right.
So
That's awesome. I was just gonna say, did she
yeah.
try on all these different personas to see which one fits?
Yes,
That's
yes,
awesome.
absolutely. So she
No.
like her son in the first issues, her son's going through a bunch of bullying stuff at school, and so she's just kind of stewing on this, like, I guess just hatred for bullies in a big way, frustration with how the world is. And it's kind of like the scene in The Incredibles where like they see the guy getting mugged, but like he can't do anything about it.
Yes.
She's not in that situation. She does go do something about it, and she feels good for about 5 seconds, and then she's like, "Wait, I'm a single mom. Like this is unacceptable. Like I could get in big trouble for this. Like this was I didn't do a self defense on this person. I like assaulted this person. Like oh
Yeah,
no,
it's
what have I
different.
done?" Yeah.
Yeah.
So like the implications of vigilantism sink in for her very quickly.
Yeah.
And she like confides in her intern, who's like 22, big like superhero anime fan, and he's like, "Oh my god, like you're fighting crime, this is so cool." Like he's not listening to her, right? And so like he like
She's
makes
like,
her a
I feel really
costume.
terrible. And he was like, here, try on this mask. Let's see if it fits.
Yes, and so she's like, why am I trying this on? Why am I wearing a leotard? I didn't shave my legs, I hate this. I can't believe you convinced me to do this." And so like she's a reluctant hero for most of the series,
That's
because she really
amazing.
does have to wrestle with like, is it worth doing this given my responsibility as a single parent.
Mm-hmm.
So they get more and more into it, and they get over their heads very quickly, and they end up kind of attacking the criminal underworld of the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul. So it's very fun and very compelling, and I hope that people find it colorful and fun, but also very personal, and it resonates
Yeah,
with some people in some way, and also very funny. The humor between Craig and Monica is one of my favorite parts of writing Drunk Mom. So
that's awesome. Let's watch the video, you guys. Let's check it
okay.
out. Play. Please play. I'm pushing the play button.
It's going to be very repetitive for the audience because I'm also talking over the video.
It hates me. It's just that kind of a day today, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was gonna be one of my questions is why Minneapolis? Are you from there? Are you
No, no, I'm not from there.
like, do you just love the way that city looks? Like, what?
Um, yes and no. So the skyline.
Oh, there it goes. Sorry.
Hi, I'm Zeno. I'm the creator of Drunk Mom. It's the story of Monica Laney, who's a single mother who's a recovering alcoholic, like me, and she finds herself fighting crime at night, and that's after she puts her son to sleep. So when she's tired the next day, everyone assumes she's relapsed, but she can't tell them the truth, so she has to live with the label as her son's Drunk Mom. I've been working on the project since 2014. It's very personal to me. This is the first issue of a 12-issue series. It's all fully written, so I'm excited to launch the first issue with you. I've been a part of 3 successful crowdfunding campaigns for comics here on Kickstarter. I'm excited to bring you my flagship series, Drunk Mom, to life with you. Thank you for checking out the campaign and backing Drunk Mom on Kickstarter.
I like the music. That's good music.
Thank you. Yeah, Monica is a child of the '90s. Not like I am, where like I grew up, watching '90s cartoons, but she was in high school and started college in the '90s. So
Ah.
she's very into like Bikini Kill and L7 and everything Riot Girl. And she's kind of obviously grown up and become more leading into her corporate responsibilities as a breadwinner. So,
Mm.
but she still has like every album that she's ever listened to memorized and all the lyrics in her head, and so she kind of talks in rock lyrics all the time. So there's actually a playlist of all the lyrics that she uses in the series,
Awesome.
hyperlinked in the Kickstarter. So yeah, it's really fun. So
I was like, on this panel right here, she has the CDs above the
yeah,
visor. I was like, oh, I
yeah.
haven't seen that in forever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she lets her son with a CD player listen to her music, and like I feel like that's how I grew up too, like listening to my parents' music with a CD
Yeah.
player and not really like having a whole lot of choice about what I listened to. So like my peers may have gotten iPods, but I was still listening to a CD player, and I think that's such a funny um, suggestion. Like now, where like every kid has like an iPad or whatever, it's like nope, you get a CD player.
Oh my
Like
gosh. I remember going on road trips with the fam and we had it was cassette tapes in the car
yeah,
and we were listening to like, what the folks had. So it was Moody Blues and
yep,
the Mamas and the Papas and God, they
yep,
loved Alan Sherman and it would drive us crazy. Like we were in these long I mean, like we went everywhere in this camper. We went all on the East Coast and we would go for 2 weeks at a time. So we listened to a lot of old music. So I feel you on that one where it's like,
yeah. Yeah,
I
my
think,
dad listened to a lot of like ZZ Top and like George Thorogood and like Leonard
ah,
Skinner, and it's just like, okay, I'm a little too young to like this stuff, but like my dad liked
right,
it,
right.
so whatever.
It's like you have this weird appreciation, like ZZ Top comes on and it's on the classic channel and you know all the words and people are like, what?
How old are you? Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a very like human thing, I think. So I wanted to kind of put a lot of my influences on my sleeve, like musically as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's cool. Yeah, I can definitely. It comes through on that video, which is really nice. And I love how. I mean, you understand videos. This video is how long?
Less than a minute.
56 seconds.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, unless you have weirdo followers like mine who like to see me run myself over with a car, you gotta keep it less than a minute, right? Let's be honest, because otherwise no one's watching it.
Yeah, in today's democratization of information, people don't have that attention span to watch a 2-3 minute
blame
video. So
Vines and TikToks,
Yep.
where it's like you have 30 seconds, to, and then that's what we're used to is just 30-second videos. If you can't give it to me in 30 seconds to 1 minute, I lose interest. Isn't that terrible?
Yep.
It's terrible. Just cram it, talk super fast, cram it in there.
Yeah.
What's going on, Matt? Pops Sketchy Guy Nevada is sending us some signed posters to give away at GRCC
Nice.
Grand Rapids Comic-Con. That's this weekend. Ooh, and I'm taking a stack of indies to give away too. If you see Pops, holla. Aren't you going to dress up like Santa Claus? Are you going to be Santa Hefner? I'm just curious.
That'd be funny.
Yeah. He's going to pass out stuff. I was going to wear the hat. Don't wear the robe. I don't no, that's a little too much. But yeah, wear the hat, man. That would be funny. All right. So we have some interior pages. Is this our main cover here?
That's the main cover, yeah. So unlike the anthologies that I've worked on, this one's all me. So the writing, the penciling, inking, color art, even the lettering. This is probably the only time I'm going to do the lettering because I'm definitely no letterer. I'll probably, for future issues of Drunk Mom, go to my good friend Micah Myers, who is lettered for DC and Webtoon and all that. So
oh yeah, I was gonna say yeah. I letter, and I know
Yeah.
quite a few letterers. So if you're looking for letterers and you don't know any, I could get you in touch.
Yeah.
Letterers kind of stick together.
Yeah, it's more than I anticipated that I
It's
had to
funny.
learn
It's funny like that,
Yeah.
where even and like when I first started and someone was like, "Man, you break a lot of rules." And I was like, "There's rules?"
There's rules. Yeah.
Then you have to go learn the rules, right? But
Yeah. So
yeah,
maybe if you're like a longtime letterer, maybe this isn't the best comic for you. But
yeah, but
I
there's
did a decent job.
but there's something to be said about bringing someone in who is an expert in their field. You know what I mean? It takes things up a notch in your comic. But it's just, and again, it's up to you. It's up to your vision for the comic, and it's up to your finances too. You know?
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard to finance a whole team of people to create a comic book. It can add up real quick. So, but I love that. Look at this. There's Drunk Mom. She's had enough of your shit. Like, let's be honest, that's her face. She's
no
done.
time for you.
She has no time for whatever is going on. And there's just one little name at the bottom, which is you, and that's amazing. You don't see that often these days. So, hats off. Hats off to you, sir, that's able to do all of that. Yes, Matthew.
That, yeah.
And also, no, don't do this either, Pops.
Oh no.
No. Oh, like the Matrix Neo Santa? I mean,
maybe. I'll have to see.
But it's Pops.
Yeah.
That Laurie Oh, does she have powers? Does
Good
Drunk
question.
Mom have powers?
Again, kind of yes and no. So the Drunk Mom universe is very grounded to where, traditionally speaking, nobody has any superpowers, but there are like a lot of like tech enhancements that people have. So like there's a villain called Turbo Jenny. She has these super speed boots.
Your name is Turbo Jenny.
There's Craig's second costume after this first issue. He wears his old like Renaissance fair costume, and it is not battle ready. So in the second issue, he makes a full on Iron Man suit. So like it's like there are powered heroics going on, but none of the people have like the power cosmic or anything crazy. So
I was laughing. I saw in the video where Monica was wearing this outfit here, and she was like, "Craig, I look ridiculous."
Yeah.
But look, he's over there just full on run festing it out.
Yep. Yeah,
That's
and this
funny.
is the crossover print. Buddy of mine who worked on Phantasmagoria, Jorge
Yeah.
Alvarez. He's doing Exodus Z at the same time, so backers of both campaigns get this cool print
Ooh,
that I did, crossing over the She Knight and the Chevalier fighting some zombies from Exodus Z. So
that's amazing. All right, sorry. I had to go. I was scrolling to see if I could see some of. I was looking for Turbo Jenny. I'm not lying. I wanted to see what Turbo
she
Jenny looks like.
is referenced in Avandris 1, but let me see if I have like a concept art, like a sketch card of it. Let me see if I
Yeah,
can find it. But
that's funny.
she's in like a tracksuit and has these like high top boots that she and she has a helmet that it kind of looks like the training helmet from the first Star Wars movie,
Oh
with like the blast
no.
shield, and it's like her
Yeah,
head up display. So yeah, it's very silly.
that's
Um,
awesome.
so yeah, she goes on a
So,
date with some guy, and just uses him to pay for her free dinner. Essentially, they have no chemistry. It's not going anywhere.
oh no.
And then they get mugged, and
She's
so
like, give
this
me
one
one
is a
second.
self-defense. Yeah,
She's like, I'm done. I'm done with this. I don't have time. Bye, Chad. She takes
yeah,
him out. Chad's trying to call the cops. Like,
yeah.
oh my god.
He's functionally useless, and she has to remind him to call the cops, and then um, when the cops do show up, it's like, yes, no, I was the one
Oh,
that
of course.
subdued him. Why is that so hard to understand? Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah, it's fun. And we talked about the inspirations for it. It's just
Mhm.
kind of those classic superhero stories. And there's a variant cover that a friend of
Ooh,
mine,
yes.
Vince White, did the pencils and the inks for, and then I colored that one as well.
Very
Um,
nice.
he also designed the logo for Drunk Mom. So those are our two covers. And then the creator bundle has everything. So if you're new to me and my comics, we've got the Evandris Theory #1 and 2, Phantasmagoria, which is a horror anthology, which it's like 90 pages. It's got 9 stories in it. It's a
Wow.
really huge, ambitious project. And then if you're just into indie comics and you're back at every indie comic in the world, and you're doing digital for budget reasons, I mean, we have a sweet deal for you with tons of indie comics. Basically for like I think it's like $1 or 2 a piece. Like it's pretty
Wow.
cheap. Um, so yeah, lots of community support, and that's really been what I've learned. I think over the last 3 or 4 projects, the most is the community building,
Yes.
being such an integral part to the indie comics community, which has been really great because that's how my first comic got made was my local community. So the online community also embracing, like I had never met George Alvarez in person. We met on Instagram and on Kickstarter. We backed each other's projects. And so he's like, "Hey, do you want to come on board for this horror story?" And I was like, "Well, I've been writing vampires for Dungeons and Dragons stuff in my campaign, so yeah, sure. I think I have a vampire story in me." So yeah, it's
Mm,
just cool to be open to like doing podcasts and doing
yeah.
uh, anthologies and just collaborations and stuff, cross promotion. So it's been a really fun journey learning how to run a better campaign from the first time I ran one. So
Right. And it's such a journey. And I think I was talking about this over the weekend. I was talking about how like every time you run a campaign, it's a little different and you learn something new.
yeah,
And over time you build community and over time you build that audience. So it's just it's you gotta walk, you gotta do it. You gotta walk the path. Yeah, see, you like what I did there? Yeah, Pat.
very good.
You
Love
gotta
that.
walk the path in order for it to, for things to happen.
The
Good
path of the
morning,
pale
Ghost
rider
Pepper,
available.
by the way. I see you over on Pilled. Good morning, good morning. I hope you are well. Um, by the way, I love Bulletproof Chicken. John Westhoff is
Yep.
such a funny writer, and Bulletproof
Yeah.
Chicken is one of my
He's great.
favorite.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just got Drumsticks of Doom, like the Arachno Gator
The
plush.
Arachnogator.
I'm just like, this is the silliest thing I've seen on Kickstarter. I have to get it.
It's so silly, but it's like, why you have to have it. And I mean, like,
Yeah.
it's the us nerds, just when we see like just such nerdy stuff, though, it's just like, shut up and take my money.
Yeah.
Especially
Exactly.
plushies. Gosh, Corissa Grant and her plushies. I'm like, there's just some really good stuff out there, you know.
Yeah. Someone gave me the good idea for a drunk mom beer koozie.
Yes.
And I was like, that's 100% going to be in the next
Yeah.
campaign. Like,
That's on brand, man.
Yeah. So
I've made koozies. I'll give you my notes. So
Yeah, it's
you
fun.
have lots of fun merch, apparently. What kind of stuff is in your fun merch? I see trading cards, buttons,
So we've got
stickers.
kind of like a swag bag, like blind bag thing, to where it's like a Tales of Goop sticker, a Drunk Mom sticker, an Avengers 3 sticker, a bunch of other stickers, buttons, keychains, car decal, temporary tattoo thing. Like there's just tons of fun Drunk Mom like little trinkets that we've made. So if you're a person that likes collecting all the swag, I definitely have a lot of swag. I'm the number one Drunk Mom fan out there, so I've made it all. And there's really fun tiers like towards the top, where like or sorry,
Did I
the upper monetary levels.
Gotcha. I was like, where am I going? Where
Yeah,
am I smelling?
there's one where it's like you get like a custom like best friend bracelet that was like really big in like the late 80s, early 90s,
Oh my
with
God.
like your name on it and Monica, and it's like BFFs. And like I'll like burn you a CD, like a mix CD from Monica. So like yeah, it's getting very silly, but like that's one of my favorite things about Kickstarter is like you can put your comic up there, right, and just be like, hey, this is my comic, and if you watch the video, they watch the video. If they read the preview, they read the preview. But like using Kickstarter as like a platform for comedy is like one of the funniest things to me, where people
Thank
were just
you.
like
Okay. That's
like
me too. Thank you. Thank you.
people were like, oh, this is the 666 tier, like I'll summon the devil if you back this or whatever. And it's just like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Or like in one of I think it was Avengers Theory #2. I was like, yeah, sure. Like for $500, like I'll DM a custom like Dungeons and Dragons session for you, and somebody backed it, and I was like, what the hell? Like people are just wanting to back at such a high level that like they'll actually sign up for the jokes, and then you're like,
Yeah.
oh, now I have to actually
Now
make
you actually have to do it.
a one shot for somebody, and it was really fun. And then the one beyond that was purely just for comedy was like for $1,000, like I'll even buy a plane ticket and like go to your local game shop and play with you, so you
That's
don't even have to like
fun.
leave your hometown or whatever, or like hop
Yeah.
online, like so like it was just very silly.
CL, I have this stretch goal that's called the Slice and Dice. Are you
Okay.
familiar? And so I let people vote on a name for like a pumpkin or a watermelon, and then they vote on a weapon of destruction. And then I dress up as
Nice.
Pikachu and I destroy this named fruit or vegetable on a live stream. So I'm with you about the comedy. I think
Yeah.
it's hilarious, and then the people get to interact with. Has nothing to do with the comic, but
No.
it's just a lot of fun. We just giggle. They scream chicken nuggets at each other because one of my characters screams chicken nuggets at the camera during my Kickstarter videos. It's just, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm with you. Like it's the experience is what you're building. So there's a ton of people with comics on Kickstarter. There's a ton of indie comics. What is it about Drunk Mom that is different than what you're going to get from all the other comics? And it's that experience that you're building, that
Yeah.
you get stuff directly from Monica, the character. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
super cool.
Yeah, and I find like I think putting yourself in the video is so important, because like a lot of people I think are just like, hey, I'm not really listening to the pitch. It's just like, hey, I like you as a person. I respond to what you're saying, or like your story and your like your vibes, and so I'm gonna back you as a creator more so than your comic.
Yes. And
Sometimes.
that's part of it too. People want to see your enthusiasm. They want to see your passion. and a lot of times they're buying you. And yeah, this is what Lou's talking about. If Laurie doesn't smash fruit, there could be consequences. That's one of the other. Here, let me show
Now
you.
you're the fruit smashing person. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's that. Like, and in fact, like I go on podcasts where they do like wrestling type intros where they're like, "Welcome to the podcast, Laurie Calcaterra, fruit ninja extraordinaire," like stuff like that. And it makes me laugh. So
Yeah, I always like
wait,
get reminded.
Here, look, wait, just a second.
Consequences.
There's that one, and then
Chicken nuggets.
and that one, and that's why
chicken nuggets.
It's just so random. And so yeah. So I'm on other people's podcasts, and people will like Lou is so wonderful. She likes to follow some of the, a ton of podcasts. And Lou will show up on like George Medina's show and scream, consequences and chicken nuggets in the comments and confuse the heck out of the podcasters. And I think it's funny. So yes, build that experience.
I think I learned during the first Avondra's Kickstarter, like there are 4 people on the project.
Yeah.
3 artists and Micah, the letter artist. And so like I was like, man, like I wonder why this project isn't really moving anywhere. And I just realized, I guess, that the writer is just the kind of also the de facto salesperson. And so learned that very quickly. And then like who are your influences for that, right? Like it's just like, all right, you get like Stanley, obviously, it's just like, hey, true believer, like you got to do all that. And then his influence on like Kevin Smith of being like, hey, like just being the Kevin personality. So like I'm just like, okay, like now I understand, I guess, like why they are the way they are, and so like why people relate with them and why they're a public figure in a big way. So yeah, it's a fun learning experience for sure.
So out of your holy cow, it is glitching out. I don't know if it's glitching out or if it's psychedelic. Does anybody else see that, or is it just my brain having a stroke?
Maybe they just have a fun profile picture that's like a GIF or something.
I guess. Do you see the variant cover where it's freaking out?
Yeah.
Okay, it's not just me. So wow. I'm gonna scroll on from that. Which of these which of your pledge levels is your favorite, you think?
I think the creator bundle, people that are just now tuning in, and have no idea what Avondra's theory is, no idea what Phantasmagoria is. They tend to gravitate towards that. And it's a great way to get like the books at like a discounted rate. Like I definitely don't want people to like feel like I'm trying to like upsell them and like here's 3 books for retail price. Like if people are coming on, like I want them to have like basically no barrier to entry to join the fun, so it's like, yeah, I'll give you, one of them for free, or like, the digital bundles basically like I think like $1 each for the new ones or whatever. But yeah, like that one's probably the most popular to where like people have gotten the creator one, they've gotten the signed creator one. So it's just like, because I do the same thing when I go to somebody else's campaign and it's like, what, this is an awesome project, it's on issue 4, how have I not heard of this before? And it's just like, okay, catch me up, like give me all the books. Up, man. So
catch up.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
That's a good price right there. Creator bundle for $35 is 5 items included, and then you can add on more if you choose. So Drunk Mom, the Avondra's Theory, the Tales of Koepp from Phantasmagoria, and a sticker pack for free.
Yeah.
Save $5. Who doesn't like to save $5?
Yeah, I wanted to do the math on it so people aren't just like going to the add-on menu and seeing like, all right, how much is this comic? And it's just like, all right, like like I definitely want to be like price conscious for people, because like things are really expensive right now. So I definitely understand wanting to save, and so hopefully doing some of that math for people helps them kind of see where they're at and what they can afford. So
yeah, I'm with you. It's like I try to bundle things up front for people and make it, I'll give them a discounted price, but inevitably someone figures out a way how to do it where they're like, oh, I added it on, and you're like, why?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Stretch goals. What's some of the things we got to look forward to here?
Okay. So one of my favorite artists in comics is Phil Noto, who does Black Widow and a bunch of Star Wars stuff. He's a watercolor artist. He right now he's doing like the Daredevil and like Echo covers.
Oh.
So his style is
How'd you
very.
snag that? Do you
Oh
know
no,
this guy
no.
personally?
So I was studying his workflow,
Mhm.
and like watching a video of his, and it was like, let me just try like my best, like to try to like recreate his style, and that's my profile picture. That's on everything, and so I have a couple prints ready to go for that one. So if if
Nice.
people like the art, awesome. I definitely am doing everything that Phil Noto taught me in a little video that I
I
watched.
see.
Uh, so,
I
but
was like, "How'd you get this guy?" You're like, "No, no, no,
no,
no, no, no. Let's
no.
clarify."
That's me. That's me in the style of Phil Noto. In
Good.
my best attempt to recreate one of my
Gotcha.
favorite artists. The stretch goal. So Monica herself, the character is bisexual, and so the first series is kind of about her single life. Um, she didn't really have a partner besides Craig, who's her intern and partner in
Mhm.
crime fighting. Um, but they're not dating. And the,
Lou is also Lou, you also do watercolors, correct? I just want to be clear. So anyway, so yes, Craig, they're not dating. That is her intern.
yes,
Boundaries.
yes,
Yes.
there is a like will they won't they between her and Craig
Oh.
over the series. So if you're into that, that's in there. Um, and the sequel series that I'm already like planning in my head, but I don't want to like get too far deep into writing it because I want to have the first one out. But it's going to be called Drunk Moms, Drunk Mom 2,
Oh.
and the 2 is flipped into an S backwards. Um,
Yeah.
and so she and her girlfriend in that series will be it'll be like 5 years in the future, and so like Bobby will be in his teens and he'll be getting into fighting crime and he has to like hide it from his mom and
Uh-oh.
his stepmom. So yeah,
Because that
it's a
I'm
whole thing.
sure his mom was like, "The last thing I want for you to do,
Yeah.
to do
So
this."
it's very fun. But yeah, I wanted to kind of I have a lot of queer folks in my family and friend groups. Wanted to kind of have a bi visibility like pride print for them. So
Very cool.
yeah,
And then at 100 backers, we get a sticker of the
yeah,
watercolor print.
that's right.
Very
Free
cool.
stickers because
Nice.
everyone loves free stickers.
Everyone loves free stickers. Stickers are a thing.
I have so many stickers. I'm the kind of person that collect stickers because like whenever I want to use them, I really feel bad. Like I was like, I have one chance at this. If I put it on something, I'm gonna ruin it. Dude, yeah, Phil Noto is amazing. I have I have a tattoo of his work from Black Widow. It's on my thigh. I think it's appropriate. I'll
I was
show
gonna
you.
say,
But
show us.
yeah,
Here we go.
it's not
Oh
too
yeah. Oh my
risque,
God. Look.
but yeah,
Gorgeous.
yeah, all his like covers and
Wow.
stuff.
Yeah.
And there's a scene where she's like at a funeral and she like blows up the casket and walks away. And
I love that.
yeah,
Shenanigans.
so
It's
good.
shenanigans, right?
But yeah, Phil Noto is one of my favorite artists of all time. So
All right. I mean, I've been slacking. I mean, it's like we've been talking so much.
we've
We
been
didn't even
having
get
fun.
very far into your Kickstarter, but here's more about, the characters. So in this first issue, she goes by She Knight.
Yes, Craig makes her overnight a leotard and a shield, and so it's the costume is very heavily influenced by She-Hulk,
Got it.
as is the character in a lot of ways. And so I wanted to kind of wear my references on my sleeve with that one, but also like Craig is making it for her, so it's very like male gaze
Yeah.
superhero, and she's like not wanting to fit in that box, and so like that's a fun aspect of her as the She Knight. But yeah, as Craig and Monica like try out these different costumes, I mean they have them just in their repertoire, and then by the end of the series, they get some of their friends and support network to take on those roles.
Oh,
So there
cool.
is a new She Knight who, if you noticed in the preview, there's Officer Alex Cavarez. She is the
Uh-huh.
one who becomes the She Knight in the future. So
Cool. Oh, that's fun.
yeah,
So they start building a team based off of Craig's extra costumes.
yes, yes.
Why not? Why not,
And
everybody?
in in Avengers Theory 1, you get to see 3 of those heroes in action. You get to see Craig himself as the Spectacle, his Holram suit, the Iron Man suit,
Yeah.
and Mr. Cease to Monica's mysticist. But Mr. Cease,
Oh, okay.
he's like influenced by like the spirit. He wears like a suit and tie. But
Here's the team, aka you.
I'm the
Ta-da.
team.
I know, it's like some people have team and it's like you gotta scroll and it's just like team. Oh, and variant cover artist. Amazing. So cool.
Yeah, those are some of the other variant covers that we've already commissioned. So
Wow.
Brian Lacey, who worked on Avengers Theory with me, did the one on the left with the Holram suit. That's like the Iron Man suit that Craig
Yeah.
basically after he finds out the Ren Fair thing doesn't work, this is the next priority for him, is making an Iron Man suit for himself because he's a nerd. So yeah, it's really cool. It's got these 2 miniaturized like nuclear reactors in the arms, and like they shoot black
Cool.
body radiation and stuff. It's really fun.
Yeah, that looks fun.
And then the Night Terror is the main
Number
villain.
6.
He's the criminal boss of the Twin Cities. He runs the criminal underground, and once Craig and Monica start to mess with his stuff, he takes note of it and quickly takes action. So yeah, they run into him and they're trying to find out who he is. Issue 6 is called "Who is the Night Terror?" And
Ah.
so he's on the cover for that one. And then by issue 7, they do end up facing him. That's them with like 2 of his goons, the Bombardier and Scullivan.
Does this guy have like a literal like RPG? Just
Yeah,
pointing
yeah,
at him?
yes. The Bombardier is basically like Bomb Voyage from The Incredibles. Like he's just got explosives. So yeah, like C4, you know, RPGs, you name it. Like he's just
He's just got a bazooka.
Yeah.
And she's wearing like a dress.
Yeah,
They
that's
have these
Mr. Cease and Mr.
masks
Fist.
on.
Yeah.
Bazooka.
And so they're actually in a distillery, and so
Well, that's yeah. Hopefully you don't blow
they're
the
like on some
entire place up.
scaffolding or whatever, and
Yeah.
there's like an open vat
Blow
of like
everything up.
alcohol that they're fighting around. And if you don't put, you know, Chekhov's vat of alcohol in your story and then have your recovering alcoholic character fall into it by the end of it, I mean, you're not even a writer at that point.
Are you even trying?
Yeah. So
Right.
yeah, lots of fun coming up.
So this is issue 1, yes? But
Yes.
you've written, you said 12.
12
So
issues, yeah.
you wrapped it at 12. And are you in production for 2, 3, 4? Like you have
Yes.
variant covers far out here.
Yes.
So
So I have the first 3 issues of like layouts and pencils done. I have the lettering done for the first one. I'm about halfway done with inks and colors, so I'm just grinding it out as fast as I can.
yeah.
And I probably will eventually hire. I think at minimum an inker because that does take the longest time for me.
Mhm.
But that will, I think, come as the series grows and gains like kind of an organic following, and I'll be able to kind of budget that in there. So
Yeah. And I was just looking at this too, because this for you, your art cost is very little
yes,
because you do everything yourself. So a majority of these funds that you're raising is for the print. So that's
printing.
what's nice about being your own boss here, is that you can just continue going, you know, and recap as you go. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, and if it's me drawing Drunk Mom for all 12 issues, I mean, I'm gonna do that. Drunk Mom
yeah.
number 1 through 12 are gonna come out. It's just really
Yeah.
the audience for it will allow the project to hire more artists to grow a team as it progresses. So
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Here's the link again, everybody. Come on over and show some love. As I always remind everybody that when an indie creator is running a campaign, it is the most important time. This is what's going to let CL print and ship out these comics to you. He already has it done. but this is what allows him to help promote and get the book out there and into your hands. So a lot of people, will say, oh, I'll just wait until it's printed and then, I'll buy it after that, or I'll buy it from you at a con. But it's like, if this doesn't happen, then sometimes that book doesn't get printed, right? So let's make sure that we support. Oh, yeah, we never did answer that question.
So when I was looking at skylines to draw, Minneapolis stood out to me. And when I was learning about like crime statistics, that was like one of the first things I wanted to do was like look at where in the country to make the comic, because like if
Yeah.
the city doesn't feel like a fictionalized version of the city, I don't think the city really is relevant. It can just be Metropolis at that point. It can be big city USA, like just generic. And so I wanted to kind of like do what Marvel does with New York with another city. And so when I was looking at crime statistic, I was learning about like human trafficking stuff, that like they're fighting human trafficking in the story, which is also like kind of heavy.
Yeah.
And a lot of it happens kind of off screen, but like you see that there are real stakes and that they are actually heroes, because they are saving the people being trafficked and stuff. And I think a lot of it was solidified when the like George Floyd protest happened.
Mhm.
And so like there was a whole conversation about policing, and vigilantism is kind of related to that conversation. Like there's a character in there, Alex Cavarez, the police officer, um, who basically wants to do more and like thinks that the police should be helping in maybe a different way, and turns to the people that are doing essentially policing in a different way.
Mhm.
Like that's the route that she chooses to take, is like I want to do more, and this is an avenue where I can do more. And so like there are like lots of themes about like keeping your community safe, building community in the story. And Minneapolis, for whatever reason, like spoke to me, and was like, hey, this is a place where you can talk about that conversation. So
You have some really heavy topics in this comedic. You know what I mean? When you see something like Drunk Mom, that's why I was like, I'm not sure if it's funny or not, to be honest with you. But
yeah,
we're talking about bullying and single moms and you know trafficking humans. Gosh,
yeah,
that's pretty interesting to tackle that in a comedic way to me. So
yeah. And there, I'll say the finale has the reason why everybody teams up is that Night Terror, the villain, right?
yeah.
Um, uh, in a very specific way, gets a hold of Bobby, the son, and so then it becomes so real and so personal for Monica, um, to not only like save her son, but confront everything that she's been confronting. And so like
Hmm.
as she's being a reluctant hero and like being told that like, hey, you have to do this because you want to keep your community safe for your son, you want to like make the city better, like those are all kind of abstract for her, and so she doesn't really commit in a huge way. But
Hmm.
when it does hit close to home, and now her son is in the hands of this crime boss who traffics people, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
this is 100% no longer abstract for me. And
Right.
so we have to mobilize our entire support network to man up all these 10 costumes that we have and go get my freaking son back.
Go
And
get my
like
son
and it
back.
becomes a very compelling moment for her.
Kind of solidifies that. You know what I mean? Where it's like you might be playing at the idea of being a superhero, but
Yeah.
when the stakes become real, it's like, okay, we're going to take this serious.
Yeah. Yeah. So
By the
I'd
way,
say issue 10, 11, 12 are very serious.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Glenn, good morning, afternoon. Well, Glenn, it's your afternoon.
Glenn.
Hello, Glenn. This is CO. We say hello. He creates comics. We're all in good company. All right. So I want to switch gears right now. Wait, before I go, remind everybody, go back this campaign. Go show it some love. Go pick out something. There's some really cool stuff on there. Go check it out. Get something from Monica herself. That's super cool.
Yeah, we've been live for almost 2 weeks, and
Mhm.
we're over 50% funded, so we're doing really good.
Yep.
We're definitely on track to fund, which is great, and hopefully hit some stretch goals along the way. So
Very cool. I wanted to talk about this. You were like,
Avengers theory.
hey, so we do this thing, it's a crossover and some other stuff. It's called the
Yep.
Avengers theory. And I was like, my mind was blown. I was like, okay, I need to hear you. Like, I was going to start peppering you with questions in the chat, but I was like, I'm going to save it for the show.
Yeah.
So, what is the Avengers theory as a project? And then, what does Avengers theory even mean? It's like,
Good question.
Avengers is such a specific name. I know it means something.
So Nico Avandris is the main character.
Ah,
He's there in the center. But
okay.
on the right hand side, Nicodemo Avarici is himself in another universe, and then on the left, Captain Nicholas Avandris is a Allied Legion Ranger in his universe, and so it's a multiverse story.
Multiverse. Cool.
And his parents are physicists that have created this and multiverse traveling suit called the Arrow suit. He's holding the helmet there on the cover, and the villain, the evil Emperor Mada, behind them, has most of the suit except the helmet. He's wearing his own helmet, and he's trying to get his hands on the Arrow suit so he can dominate the multiverse using the the Avandris suit. And so the theory, I'll spoil the title
Yeah.
in the 5th issue. So like we're trying to team them up and stuff, right? With all the Drunk Mom and Brian Lacey's stuff and Manuel Carmona's stuff, teaming up against Emperor Mata in the 5th issue. So Nico goes back to see his dead parents, who get killed off screen before the 1st issue, and he's asking them like what do I do? Like how do I stop this? Like you've made this machine that
Right.
could potentially in the wrong hands fall,
Kill everybody.
ruin the multiverse, like and destroy everybody. And
Yeah.
so they said, well, we made the suit because in our like our reason for making the suit was to have somebody travel through the multiverse, collect like information about like science, medicine, technology, and like give it to maybe past timelines or like different universes that don't have those, and just be a force for good. And he's like, yeah, but like how do you know somebody's not going to get the helmet? And so
Yeah.
they program into the helmet like a failsafe, so that like it has like a small booster and it will go towards Nico. And so that's our theory, is that you will protect the multiverse from that happening. Like the Avandris theory is that we believe in you, Nico. Like you're the hero. And
Ah.
so it's a very like ongoing like good versus evil story about the Allied Legion and Nico and all of the Nikos trying to prevent Emperor Mata from happening. So it turns into like kind of an
Hmm.
80s cartoon where it's just like even if you beat this Emperor Mata, there's another one out there who's wanting to do the same
Yeah.
thing. Um,
The
the
arm
fight,
shake was necessary.
yeah, the fight between He-Man and
You
Skeletor never
did.
ends. Yeah. So,
That's funny.
yeah, it's very fun. So
And
that's his uncle Giuseppe trying to send him back in time initially to go meet his parents, but it goes terribly because
this
Emperor
is his
Mata.
uncle. This guy.
That's his uncle. Yeah.
Yeah. Way to go. This looks more like my character Dwayne Fink with the lab coat on. Oh no. Come on.
Yeah, it
Bakun?
goes terribly because Emperor Mata's armada of ships show up and blow up the time machine as it's sending him back, and so he gets sent adrift in the multiverse. So it's a very like classic sci-fi
Yeah.
story.
And I love the old art style. What is that with the dots? They call there's a
Yeah,
name
like the
for
dot
that.
matrix, like with the old, I guess like the Ben-Day dots.
Glenn,
Yeah,
what's that called? Glenn will know. Glenn knows everything. What's it called with all those the different color dots? He'll tell us.
and then
Look at it, love it. It's like that old newsprint look.
yeah,
Did you guys print this on newsprint?
no, No,
Oh,
that's Paper Filter. That's Ben-Day Dots. That's our wonderful color artist Francisco Rivera
amazing.
doing the color art for that over Manuel Carmona's inks and stuff. And my script gets put into the hand drawn word bubbles by Micah. So like it's very like old school. Um,
Yeah, I love it.
and then as you go into another universe, it's another artist. So that universe has its own look and
Oh,
feel
that's
to it. So
cool.
Brian Lacey's
Yeah,
universe looks a lot different than
dude,
Manuel's.
he looks totally like one of those 80s cartoons merchandise. Like
Yeah,
when
he's an
you're a
action figure.
He-Man,
Yeah,
G.I. Joe, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
you got this in your Christmas stocking, this action figure for sure. Like his suit doesn't make any sense, but
No,
it makes all the sense at the same time.
it's got straps and pouches,
Yeah. Why?
all the Leafieldisms that you need.
Just a bubble.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, and I think in a few pages, Brian Lacey's art comes up as like the second story. Yeah, it should be right there.
Oh,
So
look.
like his continuity is different. So he has like his own sandbox he can play with. He can kill all the characters he wants to. It's his own continuity, and so it's very like open
Interesting.
creatively. Um, and that's kind of how we wanted it to be. Is like there is a canon, but also like you can break all the rules that you want to tell your story. So
Yeah, and since it's a multiverse, it's like you can break all the toys. This character reminds me of Jubilee and
yeah,
Gambit at the same time.
yeah, he's definitely like a '90s sci-fi. Like I call this like in my head like the Matrix first because
It's
like it
white.
reminds me of like all the trench coats and stuff from the Matrix. Uh,
Yeah,
so
for sure.
yeah, I love that page coming up with him fighting Emperor Mata right there.
Yeah.
And allowing Nico to escape to yet another universe with even more Nikos that are there to help him.
He's
Um,
like, "Hurry, go find yourself." He's like, "What?"
yeah, and then the Drunk Mom universe, which is also very different. There's Minneapolis. There's all the different suits that they have in glass cages, which are obviously very uh, good for explaining where you are in the storyline.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's their headquarters, the hangar, and then the day shift of crime fighters comes in. They have like 6 or 7 people on the team now, uh,
Ooh.
on the vigilante team. So Monica and Sarah
What
are
the
there. Monica basically comes in and says goodbye, and she'll be back. She has to go put her son to sleep. This one's about the boys. The boys need a boys' night,
Mhm.
and so Trad, Jude, and Craig they
Oh.
experience the Avandris characters coming through, and they're like, "What the heck? Like, what is
Yeah.
who are these alien people?" Um,
Just show up. I'm like,
yeah, they just come out of nowhere, and
hello."
they fight for a little bit verbally, and then they explain that they're heroes. Um, and then they're like, "Well, if you want to help us, we're going on a mission. We're going to Turbo Jenny's hideout. We're gonna go fight her because she sucks. She just escaped from prison, and they actually bond over like some shared trauma about like having Craig's mom died and Nico's parents all
Oh,
obviously died. So they take a
dang.
moment to
Yeah,
have
you
like
just like he's like, "Oh, I got this great. It's superheroes and we kill moms." Like, what the
yeah, sorry,
human trafficking, sobriety. We don't have anything serious in this one.
yeah. And I think that's one of the themes of my comics. I think are like good conversations about like male mental health,
Oh.
and kind of vulnerability and like challenging like very masculine uh, stereotypes. Um,
You know what I say though sometimes is like if I've had trauma and it's like, sorry, if I've experienced a trauma, you have to experience it too. Because when I'm a writer, I put it in. So some of the terrible things that you guys experience are actually my trauma. So I think
yeah.
that kind of, goes along with it. How did you meet Vince? Madness wants to know.
He's local, and I think we actually met online though. I think we met on Facebook, and he had
Ninjas. Sorry.
yeah, and they immediately go into fighting ninjas
Yeah.
because it was a trap, and they were supposed to go to the hangar, and they have ninjas waiting for them. So
What's
um,
the Eternal? I just unboxed. I haven't read it yet. What's the
Vince White worked on the Eternal as well.
I'm not sure what that is. Pops, tell us.
So yeah, they have a big punch fest, and then they eat the Chinese food. And Monica's upset that there's no Chinese food left for her.
Yay, pot stickers! No.
So, yeah, and then they send Nico and his friends on their merry way. So
That's
it's a
funny.
fun little like isolated adventure.
So they just hop around timelines and
Yep.
solve problems. Sometimes die.
Yeah. So that's
I'm
the first
sorry.
one.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not paying attention. Yeah.
You're fine. Yeah, it's the first glimpse into the Drunk Bomb universe, really. I think that a lot of people got. So, um, a lot of people were like, "Wait, there's a note in here that says it takes place after like issue like 9 or whatever," and they're like, "Where are the first 9 issues?" I'm like, "They're coming, I promise." Like COVID,
Yeah.
like really killed that for me
You see, and
with my
that's
momentum. So like it's coming.
I love that you wrote the whole thing first and then went back and you're starting to produce them, but you already know what's coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know how the production's going to go because you're the artist and the writer. And so really people getting a taste of your work with the I can't say it,
Wanderers, yeah.
Evandrus theory was the right way to go. It's almost like how Marvel, how Marvel like they'll have a series and then they'll have a character that kind of like has a cameo and then that cameo spouts their own series, right?
Yeah.
That's what you did basically. And you're like, "Oh, did you really like that? Great, because right over here is the Kickstarter."
Yeah.
And you, my friend, can help me get this out. So,
Yeah,
really
one of my
fun.
favorite things was like the editor's notes where it's just like, hey, this happened back in FF number 79, and like I was just like, oh my god, I have to go read that now. Like it was such a
Yeah,
good tool for me as like a reader, to like know where my favorite characters would be next. And so I was like, I put editor's notes wherever I can because like I'm such a continuity junkie that
I
like
am
I
too. Yeah.
really do care about that kind of stuff. So
So then what comes next? What comes, you know what I mean? You've written 12 and you had that heartbreaking moment of closing down the first arc.
yep.
But you already said maybe a spin-off with Two Moms, but is there other series that you plan on writing? Do you wanna do more with Drunk Moms? What's the plan? What's the plan
So
for writing? Or are you just gonna take a hiatus while you have to do all the art? Because let's be honest, that's gonna take time.
yeah, the art will take time. The other spin-off that I have in my head is a Hull-Rom spin-off. So just the Iron Man character. Um, so there is um, an exchange at Avengers Theory number 1 where he like the Dr. Trad Fisher, the guy who created the Hull-Rom suit for Craig and now wears the Hull-Rom suit. He's like a Navy veteran as well, so he's also a self-insert in a big way. Um, and so he like experiments on the Arrow suit helmet briefly and like
Uh-huh.
kind of learns a little bit about space and time travel from the helmet. And so I kind of want to have that technology incorporated into the Hull-Rom suit to be
Ooh.
able to have him have like a very pulp space adventure um, in the suit. And so Brian Lacey, who does the variant cover, I think would be a good artist because his like tech and like Transformers stuff is really cool. So like just letting an artist do the Hull-Rom suit in their own way would be fun. Um,
Yeah.
and so his character, he's married, and so he'd be away from his husband in space and time. But I think there's a good avenue for like exploring like that relationship was already falling apart, and he's kind of escaping it, and living in his villain era and doing what he wants to do and flying through space and time going on adventures, and so like reclaiming his life for himself in a
It's
big
his
way.
catharsis. It's his escape.
Yeah, he's escaping into his own imagination in
Yeah.
science and in space, and so
Interesting.
that would be a fun series to write. Or even uh, letting my friend em Raider, who he was the one who pitched the idea with me back in 2014, that was like ripping on me for my lunches and stuff. um,
Thanks a
he
lot.
yeah, he's also in a similar situation to Dr. Fisher. So I think if I allowed him to write like his perspective and his story, I would definitely draw that for him. So
Oh,
yeah, that's an idea that I have just kind of in my back pocket. But the 2025 agenda is like fulfillment for Drunk Bomb #1, doing
right.
issue 2 of Phantasmagoria Goop, the continuation of that story. Maybe Evandris 3 if we get to that. If not, I'm just gonna keep hammering away Drunk Bomb 2, Drunk Bomb 3, just boom, 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 knocking them out. So
What are the other two? What's Goop?
Goop is the horror anthology. So my sister's character in our D&D campaign is a frog guy, um, and he becomes a vampire,
A
and
vampire
so
frog?
yeah, he's a vampire frog in a fantasy horror setting, and he wrestles with like the bloodlust and stuff inside him, and he's trying to be a hero, but he's kind of an anti-hero or like a tragic hero, if you will. And so he succumbs to the bloodlust and ends up eating these like death cultists. But I mean, he's kind of more like an anti-hero to where like he's still trying to do good, but like he has now this condition for his mortality. And
Does
so
he have
he's
teeth?
yeah, he's got 2 little teeth that come out. It's
Okay.
really cute. So
How
the fun
big? I have to
part,
ask. How big is this frog man? Is he tall? Is he
he's
normal
two
size human?
2 or 3 foot tall, like he's real short. And so he just comes jumping at you. And he's just like with a sword, squealing at you. It's very weird.
Creepy.
Yeah. So him being so cute and the cute little frog guy, but also being terrifying, having these big teeth, is kind of the fun. To where like I
Yeah.
wanted it to be quirky and funny, but also be like terrifying and like body horror, and like that's because like when I pitched it to Jorge, he was like, "Hey, Leighton, I know you have this idea, but like this is a horror comic, right? This is supposed to be scary. This frog character is way too cute. Like I don't understand how this is going to be scary."
You're like, that's
Um,
the scary part about it. You look at him and you're like, oh, look how cute. And then he tries to
yeah,
eat you. Right.
yeah. So Tales of Goop is fun and based on our D&D campaign. So,
That's
and
great.
then they like overthrow the king in that one, and it's a whole hero's journey
How
there
many
in like
pages
6
is
pages.
this ankle biting frog?
Yeah, yeah.
You're like, what? Get off.
It's 6
So
pages.
6?
Yeah,
Oh, in the anthology.
yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
And then we did a fun variant cover, which is like an homage to the Tomb of Dracula, first appearance of Blade. And so I was like, well, as a Marvel fan and like an old school comic fan, I would want to read like if I'm a comics reader and I love vampires. I mean, Blade is the most popular vampire character in
Oh, yeah.
comics, period. Like there's not even a contest.
Yeah.
Like I think Blade is probably more popular than Dracula in comics. Like he's
Yeah,
very
yeah.
popular.
Yeah.
And so I was like, hey, I think this is not only something that I would buy, but something that I would have a lot of fun drawing is the homage cover. So
Cool. So all of those projects, I just want to remind everybody, are available on the Kickstarter in the collector's bundle. And then there's a
yes.
signed version as well. So you can read all of those things. You can get them all just by pledging the Kickstarter link that we
And
had up.
the collector's bundle to in case people didn't read those tiers yet. The reason why they're more expensive isn't because like I'm charging you for the signatures because I'm a hack, but you actually get a collector's copy and a reading copy. So you get 2
Oh, you
comics
get
of
2
each
copies.
one to collect and save and one to read. So
And that, it's funny because I didn't think about that when I first started
yeah.
offering Kickstarters. And I had someone specifically ask me that. So I actually named the tier after them. I had a tier called the
Oh,
Nat Special
that's
because
fun.
my friend Nat was like, I want one to read and I want one for you to sign. And then I'm going to put it on the shelf and nobody opens it. And I was
Yeah,
like, oh, I didn't even think about that. So
that's awesome.
yeah, it's a thing, people. That's why
Yep.
there's 2 of them. You
Mhm.
take one and you read it and you get the experience of turning the pages and smelling the comic and spend your time, and then one that is shelf candy and you save it forever and love it.
That's right.
And you pass it down in your will.
Yeah, and you get to once the 12th issue comes out and there's so many people on it. You can say like, oh, I was in on the ground floor. I read #1. I have my signed #1, which you can't get anymore. And It's like a
Yeah.
printing. So yeah, you get to have bragging rights over all the other Drunk Mom fans. So
CL, are you gonna do like trade paperback? Like, how far are we talking
yeah,
here?
I've worked out based on like printing Casa a few years ago. I think the
A
4
few years
issue.
ago?
Yeah, so I have to
It's all
redo it, but,
different
like,
now.
I'm aware, yeah. So I
I
have
was
to
like,
redo the
damn
math,
it.
but back then, I think the
Right.
4-issue trade was better than the 3-issue trade, so I think it'll come out after 4 issues, and then
Yeah.
an omnibus is
For
definitely
the 12.
gonna be on Kickstarter for all 12, yeah.
Yes. Because
And
mine
it
is
has
12 as well. So I feel
yeah,
you. So it's like we're doing 4, 4, and 4, and then all 12 together.
yeah,
Um, I can't wait to see that together for you. You know what I mean? It's like because every step is just its own little joy where
yeah.
you get to have you and it, I'm not as eloquent in speaking today. I'm sorry, everybody. Getting the
Hey,
issue
we've
that
had
you're
no barf,
currently
so that's good.
what's that? We've had no barf, right? But
That's a
it's
win.
been so chaotic. So I apologize to everybody. But yeah, getting the issue that you're working on is always like that's so great, but then you're one step closer to the next one and the next one and the next one. So it's like you have to enjoy the step that you're in, but also looking forward to what's coming. And
Yeah,
so when I'm always like, oh, I can't wait to see your trade paperback, it's like I know we're on issue 1, but in my mind that's happening already.
yep.
So I'm
Yeah,
excited for you.
yeah, we definitely have like the same sort of mindset of like,
Mhm.
are you thinking about an omnibus and trades? It's like, oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
same brain. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That
yeah,
would be that was good that's gonna be so cool. That's gonna be so freaking cool. I cannot wait.
yeah.
It's just like,
I will have
"Shut up and
multiple
take my
copies
money."
uh, on my bookshelf, and it will
Yeah,
be the coolest thing ever. So
absolutely. Uh, so what else you have planned? Are you still gonna start going to Comic Cons? Have you thought about that? Have you been doing
yeah,
that?
I have a couple cons under my belt. Like I did Tidewater Comic Con down in Virginia Beach, NecoCon in Hampton. Um, I'm probably going to do GalaxyCon in Richmond next year. I think
Ooh.
the big leap in terms of like scale or like radius from me would be AwesomeCon in DC would probably be something I'd be interested in. As I get more and more books on the table, maybe trades, I could definitely see myself doing an awesome con. I am kind of trying to like pull back from doing as many conventions, just to have more time to work on the books and the art. But yeah, absolutely, I would probably be doing some amount of travel once like we get
Mhm.
to issue 12 and we get to omnibuses and stuff like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
I would love to do like a New York Comic Con or something of that scale. So
Ooh.
yeah, that being in the future is exciting, and I'm trying not to think that far ahead and stay focused on both Drunk Bone #1 art and the campaign.
Well,
So
I feel you. My husband's like, "When are you gonna go to New York Comic Con?" I'm like, "Never."
yeah,
I don't got time or money for that right now. I'm like, it's just so far outside of what I think. I don't know. Maybe it's imposter syndrome where I'm like, I don't
yeah.
belong. You know what I mean?
It takes
But
time. Like you gotta take time to build the organic relationship with the fans. Like when I was at NecoCon, somebody told me like, "Hey, my kid is autistic, and he's read the Avengers Theory #1 like 50 million times, and
that's
tells me all
cool.
about it. And could you sign his issue 1?" And I was like, "Oh,
Of
absolutely, I will
course.
sign their issue 1. That's not even a question."
Yeah.
And by the way, issue 2 is ready. Here's issue 2, and they're like, "What? How much do I owe you?" I was like, "Dude, for this kid, like, absolutely
Yeah.
not. Like, here you go. Here's just a copy of it. Like, this kid needs the next issue." And he came back the next day and he's like, "When's issue 3 coming out?" I was like, "Kid, I just came out with issue 2."
Like,
So
did I just hand you issue 2? It's because it
yeah,
just came out. Like,
yeah. So yeah, and stuff like that is just so important that like it's really hard to look ahead when all this stuff is happening. That's
Mhm.
all new and exciting right now. So
that I'm with you. Sometimes it's good to feel in the moment
yeah,
and gracious for the things that are going on. And it's like I still can't believe that I'm on issue number 5. I really can't.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
and
huge.
that 6 is we're already gonna start working on 6. There's some big moments in the series, and I know you have them in your series as well. And
Yep.
it's like every time you finish one, it's like, oh, we're this much closer to XYZ happening in my story.
Yeah.
Like it's an interesting feeling to know what's coming. I don't know. You seemed pretty open with some of the spoilers. Like you were like, well, when
Yeah.
this happens, and then in the next series and I was like, okay, so everybody at least survives.
Yes and no.
Monica survives and her son survives. We know that much.
To
Because
the
you're like, oh, and
finale.
then the moms, unless
Right.
you bring them back from the dead or clone them. I don't know.
There is a bit of fake deaths happening in the finale. That's all I'll say about that. So
I mean, you did one of your influences is Spider-Man, so
yeah,
there's a lot of that going on in Spider-Man. So I could see
yeah,
you drawing from that. But yeah, I'm like, I've been sitting on this secret for years now,
yeah,
and nobody knows what happens in this, next coming issues. And I'm like, I so want people to know. I so want people to know what happens in my story
yeah,
next. Yeah.
yeah. Like I want people to read like the big moments, or like there's a talent show that Bobby goes to in, I think,
Yeah.
issue 6 in Who is Night Terror, and Monica is like on a date with her boss to try to see if he is Night Terror. um, and because like he's ruining her life because he sucks and he's her boss. But like, could he be the villain? Like he knows
Mm,
enough about her, and so she eventually. Uh, One is obviously so turned off by the idea of being on a date with her boss, and
yeah,
and
that's gross.
concludes that he is not Night Terror and makes it just in time for her son's talent show.
Talent
So
show.
yeah, and he's playing a Nirvana song with his friends on stage, and it's very cool.
Yes.
So
Cool,
like
cool,
that
cool.
one, the the distillery fight, the big fight at the cathedral in issues 10, 11, and 12. Yeah, there's a lot of big stuff coming, and so I mean,
Cathedral fight.
yeah, it's the finale.
Um,
It's a big finale.
what's
Uh,
the cartoon? It's Cowboy Bebop. Yeah.
yeah.
Yes. I was like, are we Cowboy Bebop? And you're like, uh-huh.
So yeah,
Oh,
we have to get there. There's building blocks. I'm a big fan of
yeah.
like long form comic arcs and stuff. So
All right. Well, then let's talk about your writing process.
okay.
So, as you're writing, just purely creating, what kind of script are you writing? Are you writing in prose? Are you writing in comic book format? Are you writing movie scripts? Like, what is it that when you dump, what's it look like?
It's a little methodical. If I have notes of like a phrase or like idea or concept that I find profound or like meaningful, or like if I'm going through something and I write it down like in my notes app or whatever on my phone, like that's just a habit that I've developed. Like if there's something like that I can use, I always try to do kind of like a plot summary, like a beat sheet. Like what does the story look
Yeah.
like before I give like fine details on it? Let me do an outline. Um, and if that doesn't really land, I definitely iterate that quite a bit. Like if hey, the second act needs to reiterate this theme, I need to change the second act, rip it out, and put something else in. I definitely want to establish that before I've done 20 pages of scripting. Um, do that as early as possible. Um, and then when I do get into like dialogue and things like that, I want it to be exactly how I envision it. I don't really want to do a whole lot of rewrites because often at times I am doing the art, and so I
Mhm.
definitely am not like a cartoonist to where like I get in there and draw at the same time as I'm coming out with what I want to say. That's not how my brain works at all. Like those are two very different
Yeah.
disciplines
Interesting.
in my head. So like I'll write details that inform the art in like a section, even if I'm the artist on it, because like I want the writing to be very intentional, and remind myself like, hey,
Surgical. Surgical decisions.
surgical.
That's what
Yeah.
you said. I'm going to quote you on that and other stuff
Yep.
too.
Yeah. Don't forget to put this in here, and it's important for this reason.
Right.
If there's something that appears, you want to make sure it's on the page and not just in the script. Um, and so, yeah, that's kind of more my process. And I don't, I wouldn't say I have layout in mind when I'm drawing.
Mm,
I don't write like irrespective of it, but I definitely don't have like a set layout in my head. But I am kind of conscious of like how much words take up on the page,
yeah.
how many panels I have, and stuff like that, and what amount of dialogue I can fit into that panel. But other than that, it's kind of uh, open. Because if I give the script over to another artist, I want them to do just as good a job as I would have done. Give them all the information. So
Well, one of the nice things I found about being the writer and the letterer is that once I get the completed pages, I can adjust some of the dialogue. Like if it's,
yeah,
I wrote this as a full length movie. So, there's no limit on the dialogue because, it takes you 30 seconds to say a long sentence, but it's not going to fit on a one panel.
yeah,
So it's like you can tweak things, as the writer slash letterer. It's almost like your final edit about what
yeah,
makes it onto the page.
yeah. And I've had to edit with Avandris a couple times with Micah, who's hugely professional. So he kind of understands like the writer feedback process, even on my own art. And so,
Right.
um, yeah, he's been very open to that. And so I've definitely had a lot of like learning experiences through that, um, on how to edit my own work to better serve the comic. So
Yeah. I love editors. I love my editor as well because without her, I would be lost half the time.
yeah,
You go back and look at it and you're like, wow, I totally missed all of that. Sometimes you need those people just to pick it to pieces so it could be the
yeah,
best version of itself.
yeah. It takes a village, and like really the whole
Yeah.
community building aspect of it is so important, and not just for like getting everyone on board with the Drunk Mom series, but like me having you know encouragement to keep going with the series, uh, feedback. Like when we did Avonda's Theory #1, the first Kickstarter I ran, I didn't even have a digital version on there, and people were like, "Yeah, like you're leaving money on the table, like you need a digital." And so
Right.
like I went in there, and so like nobody's got to do everything perfectly the first time, but that also
Right.
shouldn't keep you from trying to do the things you want to do. And whenever you see somebody that maybe is going in a different direction, and you have something that could help them out, like just helping each other out generally
Yeah.
is how everyone's going to get their projects made and stuff like that. So
Yeah. And I believe in critique in private, praise in public.
yeah,
And so if I ever see something, I might slide into someone's DMs and be like, "Hey man, have you thought about this?" Like, or this has been, successful for me. But again, it's just like it's my opinion, and what works well for my audience might not work for your audience and vice versa. So,
yeah,
I
yeah.
can
It's funny, Travis
everybody needs to
give.
understand that, and so, like,
Yeah,
if you suggest something to somebody and they don't take your advice, don't get butthurt,
yeah, yeah,
right? But, I mean,
and
like, obviously, if it's like, "Hey, man, you should have a digital option," that's a no-brainer.
yeah. Yeah, you just don't know what you don't know. Like I don't
Right.
read a whole lot of digital comics, so that wasn't something that came to mind. It was funny. Travis Gibb came in and
Yeah.
ripped me on Drunk Mom, and like he gave me advice for the campaign prior to launching it. So like he's just already kind of aware of what we're doing. So yeah, it's great getting to know people, and like I feel like social media has just been completely on the decline, like from like a product standpoint. But like
Yeah.
getting into the indie comic community, you get to actually like be social on the social media platforms, which
Yeah.
again, which is great.
Yeah.
Like instead of like, oh, I'm keeping up with my friends and you get a bunch of ads, but also like it's like, oh, I'll meet people in indie comic groups, or like somebody's in a video of a podcast that I already watch or listen to, and then I follow them or back
Right.
their stuff. And so like yeah, it is both the monster that we created and our responsibility to use it correctly with social
Yes.
media. So
And
yeah,
stay out of the drama, people. Don't
yeah,
just don't participate.
Yeah.
And Lou, you don't have artist friends to give you feedback? We could find you some. I know
Yeah.
there's a ton. And I mean, like, even here on the draw stream, do you come on some of the draw streams, Lou? Because I'm sure a ton of the guys that come on, guys and ladies that come on to the draw streams would be happy to critique. And when I say critique, I mean it in the art sense of critique,
Yeah.
not just,
Not
some
like
people
art
think
critic.
critique and they think they're just going to rip your stuff to shreds, but it's like art critique is its own thing. I've been to art school, so I know where it's like we look at it and it's like you're logically looking at the art and thinking, this is what I like, this is maybe what could be better, and then just brainstorming with the artist of what they think, could tweak it to make it better. So you are a part of the network. Yes.
Yep. Yeah. If you're in the stream, you're part of the family. So
You have anything you need, all you have to do is ask. And that's
right.
that's from Pops himself. So you are definitely welcome to do the draw streams. People say it's just great. Sometimes they don't have the knowledge to tell you what to do to be better too. So it just depends on where everybody is in their journey. If Chuck Dixon was like, "Can you critique my script?" I'd be like, "No."
Yeah, it's crazy because like I would go to Zeno's books, which is where I got the part of my pen name down in Chesapeake for years and years. I went there, and Brian Lacey was an artist there, and like I have a couple of like prints that I got from him. Like he was one of my favorite local artists, and now like working with him and like being almost peers with him, he's still a lot better of an artist than me. Like it's really cool to work with him in a way that like I super respect everything that he does, and it's still a process of like, hey, how can we communicate this in the art? How can we do Holram or do Avandris theory different or better, or like what?
Yeah.
And so there's definitely no ill will at all ever.
Right.
When you're talking with like fellow artists about a project that you're working on that you want to be successful, it's coming from like the most wholesome place of mutual respect.
Yes.
And
And trying to
vision.
make the thing the best version of itself.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell. I love my Path of the Pale Rider team because everybody's under that mindset, and we take critique from everybody. You know what I mean? Because I letter, and sometimes the guys are like, "Hey, I really feel like there should be an SFX for that," and I'm like, "You're totally right." Like, and I just in my head I can see it, but I didn't put it on the paper, and so vice versa. Like, "Hey, this color is great, but what about this?" Or, like these lines are great, but what if we did this with the panel? And so we all share those ideas. And that's the best part of the community, is because it takes my comic and, really elevates it to something else as opposed to just what I started with. So,
yeah, we are definitely greater than
popping
some
in
of our parts artistically.
Yes, I agree with that.
I must come in and say, hello,
hey,
Mr. Zeno. What's up? Good stuff. I like it. I'm amazed. I didn't know Vince was doing something else. I seen Laurie scrolling through about 20 minutes into the video, into this show, and she scrolled through and she went by his picture really fast. And I went, wait a minute, is that Vince? And I pulled it back up and I scrolled down until I found his picture. And I was like, yeah, that's Vince. Vince is a good dude, man. I'm glad you got hooked up with somebody like that. That's sweet. There he is.
Yeah, he had, I think, posted that his commissions were open, and I knew he was a local artist, and so I liked a lot of his line work and stuff. And I had this vision for like a cityscape where she's jumping over the moon, and I was like, I definitely would love to have another artist on a variant cover for the book.
Yeah.
So. Well, we got tons of those in the Madness, bro.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
And I just wanted to say, sometimes like critiquing people, sometimes what people do is just too good for me to mess with by putting my idea on top of it. Or you know what I mean? It's like, first, I'm not like a great artist or anything. I'm not an artist at all. I can draw a little bit, but I like to help people with their campaigns. And, just like Laurie said, if we see
Pops has great ideas, by the way. And he's very generous with his ideas. where he's just like, hey, I had an idea where you could do this. And it's like, well, okay. And then if I can execute it correctly, then it's like, it works great. So even though Pops is not a writer or an artist, he can definitely help people's campaigns just with ideas.
I talk to people and the light bulb goes off in the middle of a conversation. I'll be like, oh yeah, dude, you should try this. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's not planned out. There's, some of it now we can go back and we can look at it and go, that worked.
Yep.
And
some of it you're like, nah, swing and a miss.
Yeah. And sometimes you don't know. Yeah. I mean, it's taking chances, but like, Lou, I'm going to tell you straight up, ain't nobody in our draw stream that's going to critique what you do, darling. It's freaking awesome. Your watercolors. Look, when I first saw the David Bowie, when I first saw her David Bowie, I was like, holy crap. And I was like, you need to come hang out with us.
Yeah. The next step could be like, hey, I want to submit my work for a portfolio review. Like if your art is at that level and you're trying to take it to the next level, and you give it to either a publisher or an artist that you like to review it, like they might be able to either tell you, hey, you're going in the right direction, like the community, like Pops is telling you, or hey, here's how to take it to the next level. So
I do give you my feedback. My feedback is, holy crap, when I see your work, right? It's like, there's nothing I'm going to tell you that's going to improve that.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to encourage you to keep trying to get better and better, but there's nothing I'm going to tell you that's going to make your stuff better. You're awesome. And if you are looking for a cover artist, talk to Lou. She's done some cool stuff. She brought our Laurie and my RPG characters to life. Okay. She drew them and gave them a look and there you go. Here, I'll show
which I then have copied and made my own persona.
Yes, there you go. That's Dante and Karen. And we actually have a show that they do now, because Lou brought them to life. I mean, we were playing them in a game, but she gave them a look. And then we went out and made that look into a show.
We unleashed Karen on the reality of people, and
the things that come out of
scary.
It are amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know, CL. You might be on a show here real soon. I'm just saying, things happen. Things happen.
I think that the thing that has helped me is like your eye for critiquing art and like your skill at making art often are like constantly helping each other out or like growing at different rates. And so like going to instructional videos to like learn how to critique art better has helped me critique my own art as well. Like if you're not getting a lot of feedback and progressing is a little bit slower than you'd like from the community, you can also, I guess, just kind of hyper fixate on it yourself and just say, how do I review my own work more critically and grow a more critical eye. And so like yes, I've received like a lot of good advice from like the community and being like, hey, limit your color palette, try to choose maybe your color palette in advance before you do this. Color is good for mood and stuff. And try to keep your colors towards one end of the spectrum was a good piece of feedback I got early on. But also like I also did my own research into like color theory and color art. So like it's kind of a dual pronged approach.
Well, it's got to be your originality. And, I mean, it's got to be what comes from you, from your heart. But at the same time, when you get all these people networking, things happen, collaborations happen, all kinds of new ideas pop out, new books come out because this guy met that guy last week. 2 months from now, they're talking about a new book that's coming out. It's crazy. And I love being at the hub of something like what we're trying to build here. I'm glad to meet you. It's the first time I've seen you. Didn't know about you. Now I do. Everybody else gonna too. That's my piece. I'm out. Thanks for letting me have.
Thanks, Pops.
I'm gonna go lay back down.
Lay down. Thank you for Pops was my backup today because I was like, I don't know how it's gonna go. My kid's at home. She's threatening she's gonna barf.
And I had surgery.
I don't want to, especially like someone that haven't met before. You'll be like, "Hi, nice to meet you. You're gonna be by yourself for the next 10 minutes while I go clean up the floor."
Yeah.
So Pops,
Yeah, I just had
appreciate you.
surgery 4 days ago. And I
Yeah,
was like,
that's
I
why I
don't
was
know
like,
if I'm feeling it today, Laurie, but
yeah,
I will always get up for what needs to be done, guys. Doesn't matter what it is. Thanks for coming out on the show and showing us what you got. We appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thanks for
Yeah,
having
man.
me.
Peace, everybody. I'm out.
So, CL, where can we see you in the near future? Are we going to see you in person? Are we going to see you on other podcasts? Give us all the deets, your socials, all of that good stuff.
I'd say the best way to keep up with any news would be on my website, clzeno.com. I have a newsletter that you can sign up for. That's probably the best way to keep up with all of the projects. So any production or Kickstarter or fulfillment related stuff that we put out through like backer emails and stuff on Kickstarter will also be put out on the newsletter. So the newsletter is the best way to do that. And it prevents social media reach from not reaching you. Like I had a lot of people be like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know issue 2 was live," or "I didn't know you were doing another comic."
Ugh.
Yeah, if you sign up for the newsletter, Meta and Twitter or whoever else can't
Stifle the algorithm.
suppress your favorite artists
Jerks.
in a big way. So I will be on. Let's see, I have a couple shows coming up. I have the Comic Chat Authority, if you watch that on Saturday, and then the Fueled by Weird podcast coming up on Sunday. Those are the next big things I got coming up. For the local community, I have a show down in Chesapeake, Suffolk area in Hampton Roads. The Pretlow Library is having a comic show on December 7th. My good friend Corey Bland, who's on issue 2 of the Evandris Theory, works at the library and is putting on a show there. So the local community can come out for that. And then 2025, I will see you all for some conventions, I'm sure, in the upcoming year. So.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are like, "Yeah, you can follow my socials." You are going to be busy throughout the end of the year and then looking into the next year. So, yeah, man, that's how you got to do it. Go get it. Go get it.
I joined Blue Sky. If anybody does partake, that's a new one.
Cool.
I know it's kind of blowing up, I guess, in the last
Is
year
it?
and like the last month. Yeah, like the numbers have climbed. At the beginning of 2024, had a huge spike, and I guess after the election, there's been a huge spike.
Oh.
Like I joined like this week or last week. So if anybody's on Blue Sky, that's a social that doesn't seem as bad as the other ones.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out just because it's like it's hard to maintain so many socials. You know, I know you know me how I feel here because it's like Facebook and then Insta and then X and then TikTok and then Threads is the new one and then there's now there's Blue Sky and then there's all, I mean, you can name it, they're out there. So
yeah, like I started deleting a couple apps from my phone. Like I deleted Facebook because they got so much AI stuff on there, and so like you can get on like the mobile browser and not really be exposed to that because they have that for like developing nations that don't really have a whole lot of bandwidth. They have a mobile browser for Facebook that doesn't have AI stuff.
Gosh,
and
so
then
much AI right now. It's terrible.
it's so much. And I post on like the Meta Business Suite app to both Instagram and Facebook, so I don't really have to get on those to post, which is great.
Loophole.
Sorry, Meta. I'm not a big fan right now.
I mean, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. So
everybody can pick and choose which socials they want to be on.
Yeah.
Do whatever makes you sane right now.
Yeah, that's and building community is a great way to to really escape a lot of that stuff and invest in art and things that do make you happy as opposed to the things that are going on in the world right now.
Read comics, because we were talking about how comics and escapism for you as a child, but it's like people right now, you want to take control and you want to go walk around in a different world. Pick up a comic, pick up some indie comics. Go walk around in another world for a little bit and forget about your bills and your kids' orthodontist appointments and all that BS. It's like, just go walk around in drunk mom number 1 for a bit. You know what I mean? And laugh at the antics that Craig has planned. It's a great escape. So
he has many antics planned.
And I look forward to this. So. All right, everybody. And that is the show. Thank you so much again for coming on, CL. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah.
I wish you all the success in the world. And I'll be watching. I'll be watching your successes and as you grow with your library. Oh, so cool.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, thanks for having me on. It was an awesome chat. Love hanging out with you guys.
Thank you very much. Next week, we will have Eddie Lima on, and we're going to talk End of Zed. And as always, be kind to each other, be excellent to each other, and kiss your babies. Join us next week for the Tuesday Morning Brew. Catch you then. Bye.
It's Flip City Magazine, The Parodies, Special Edition, with savage send-ups of The Walking Dead, Star Trek Picard, Stranger Things, The Mandalorian, Guardians of the Galaxy, and more from the first 4 years of Flip City. Get Flip City The Parodies free when you subscribe in print at flipcitymag.com. The world's best satire magazine, and never, ever woke.
Comic Books for Kids provides comic books to kids in hospitals and cancer centers across the U.S. It's a place where we can all work together to make sure every child has a comic book. 100% of all proceeds go towards the kids. It's about making a difference, and while they're in the hospital, allowing them to fly like a superhero, battle dragons, or rescue teddy bears. We are in every state in the country and now support over 160 hospitals. Every month, we add more.
Visit cb4k.org.